Hey everyone, welcome back to Between the Stripes, a Clemson Media podcast. I'm John Fowler,
I'm
I'm
Colin
also Pat
Webb.
Henry.
and today's episode is all about marginalized sports, the ones you don't see on prime time, and how social media is changing the game for athletes and communities that have long been overlooked. Just to start us off, big question: what exactly makes a sport marginalized? Is it lack of funding, low media visibility, cultural bias, kind of mix of those things? What do y'all think?
Yeah, what?
Uh, I kind of say it's a mix of all of them all together overall. In my opinion, just start off with the lack of funding. Uh, that plays a major role within the sport. Just the budget and overall, I mean, the more money that goes into the effort, just the overall buy-in, just overall makes everything work and flow better. Just the media, the interaction, and everything with that. Low media visibility. That also plays a major role because I mean, if you have no viewers or no interaction with people, then how can you expect whatever's going on in the sport to sustain itself or keep revenue or anything or be able to stay afloat with the people who really support it and just outsiders not tuning in or nothing. Uh there's also culture bias. I mean, I think that can play a role into it. I don't think it's as much as the other two, but I think to a certain extent it can. I mean, bias goes a long way with certain sports and that could heavily spike or it could be a negative effect in the same way, depending on just what you know, what you was brought up around, and how other people view sports. And it might not be as high commodity or high command as and viewed as some other popular sport, but then the sport that you think is something you would never tune into is high command somewhere else. So I think it's a mix of all of them, all the above.
True. Like K Webb said, really though, I just feel like really just depending on your sport for real, for real. I feel like more like football is gonna bring more attraction than golf. You know what I'm saying? I just think that money, views, all that play a part because like for an example, like I think it was like a few years ago, it was like Clemson should go into the Big Ten because of it will promote more money and more like views. Whereas as like we gonna bring views and money regardless because of who we are and what we do to the sport. And I just think that all play a factor in all like everything we do. And I just think that if your team good, no matter what the sport is, you gonna naturally just bring views and uh traction. Like for an example, March Madness. Like team like who beat Clemson? What that team is, McNeese. They just naturally brought views to
Hmm.
themselves just because of why they in there and who they beat. So I just think I don't really necessarily think it's more like what they doing, but like in the arena of what they doing it in. So I just think all that play a factor for.
Yeah, I get you. I definitely think it's like definitely a mix of all the things, but I think the really the key factor of all of it is like the lack of funding. I think that's like the base of the problem sort of thing. Like you can't I feel like you can't have those other problems unless you have the funding itself. Like you can't have the sport without the funding sort of thing. So if you don't have the sport, the other problems aren't really existent kind of thing. So like especially here at Clemson, like we keep adding all these teams, keep adding all these facilities and everything, but the those parts that we don't necessarily have, that's they don't have these issues because they just don't exist, and that comes down to a basis of lack of funding. Like all these different events, like you mentioned, March Madness and everything. Well, how do we get that started? Say for not necessarily something as big as college basketball. Let's get it started for something smaller like tennis or something. All comes down to funding. I think is the base of everything.
Gotcha. That's good. I can also just piggyback off of that, what you guys said, just how important and essential the funding is overall. I mean, I feel like that's just the center of everything. Just without the funding, it just everything else will fall into place. It doesn't fall into place. It all starts with the funding because the funding just opens up doors and allows everything else to flow naturally. So I like that you said that, and I also agree with it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. Just to list some examples, there's some women sports, LBGTQ leagues, indigenous games, and para athletics. Why do some of these still struggle to gain traction in mainstream media? Shoot, I feel like no sexist stuff, but like ain't nobody trying to watch no LGBTQ sports. Real time, ain't nobody trying to watch that. And I just feel like, you know, all that really play a factor in who the person is. And you know what I'm saying? I'm not against none of that, but I just feel like as a fan and as like a sports person looking in, like I'm not gonna turn on my TV and put LGBTQ sports, no matter what the situation is. And I just think, people are different though, but I just think stuff like that is gonna gain attraction towards the LGBTQ community, the feel me, all that type of stuff. And I just think there's nothing wrong, nothing against it, but I just think like with just us, just people in general, like everybody is gonna be attracted to different things and what you feel me? So I just think uh that plays a factor in that. And I think like that also fails to gain traction because, like I said, nobody trying to watch no LGBTQ.
Oh,
But yeah, but
Um,
that's
just,
that's how I feel about
just
that.
no, I got a quick question for you. Quick question. Like you say that and everything, but like, is there a reason why like you look at media and everything, and you see these like games going on? Is it just because the media isn't like portraying it as maybe as competitive as maybe male sports are?
Mm.
mm, that's a good one.
I feel like it's different though, because I don't think, and I'm not even trying to be, you feel me? But a woman's sport is just, I'm not gonna say it's less competitive, but it doesn't bring the interest, entertainment, and the amount of views in a sense, if that makes sense. Like, but like for an example, like March Madness women's basketball, March Madness for men and March Madness for women are going at the same time,
Mhm.
and I haven't heard anything about women's basketball except for what's it called getting kicked out the March LSU women's basketball getting kicked out, and that's that. And I feel like what that is just the men's March Madness basketball. I just think I'm not even just saying, I'm just using that for an example. I just think that just brings more attractiveness to the sport because that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? They both going at the same time, but they talk about more than one than the other. Not because of woman, female, but I just think just how the overall sport is for that specific purpose is going to bring more attention than women's March Madness. Don't get me wrong, I'll turn on a March Madness women's basketball game and tune in, you know what I'm saying? But let me find out the Final Four, Duke and Houston playing. I'm not about to sit and watch LSU and South women's
I
basketball.
feel
You feel
you.
what I'm saying? So it's really just that though, you know what I'm saying? So that's what how I feel about that.
Uh,
Yeah.
I can agree with what you're saying, and I see what you're saying. Just overall, just I mean, when you think of a sport and a sport that you use, for example, basketball, March Madness, and even football, when you think of a dominant sport, you automatically what portrays in your head is a male. Because I mean, just think for instance, like if you compare a basketball game and a woman's basketball game and a woman's football game to a male basketball and male football game, you got uh in a male basketball game, you got men just showing their dominance, being physical, and slam dunking the basketball. But when you transition over into women's basketball, you don't get the same hype, the same excitement, the same physicality, and just the pure dominance, athleticism. So I feel just like that comes into play. So people aren't going to tune in as much, and I mean just the revenue and the attendance at games, the ticket sales, all that just falls into place within that. And I feel like they struggle to gain attraction uh that just kind of staying stagnant because it's just a it's just a different caliber and a different type of dominance and just excitement behind the sport. So all that goes within it. But it's no disrespect to women's athletics or the LGBTQ community and them participating in sports as well. It's just the way it's portrayed, also in the media. Just that's just the people go to. It's what the people want to see. So it's kind of hard to push that and promote it over what's in high command, I should say. So that's what I kind of feel about it.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think the one sport that has done really well in that kind of area is, of course, women's college basketball. I think ever since, of course, like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese came through, there's been a few others that have been pretty successful there. Haley Van Lith, Juju Watkins, a few other ones. Paige, I forgot how to say her last name.
Age,
But I mean, some really dominant players and everything. I think they've done a good job of like spurring media around their sport and everything and making it seem more competitive because like I mean I'd be betting on them fools, they'd be making me money, so I mean why wouldn't I not tune in every now and again to see some, you know. But I think they've done a good job of marketing themselves pretty well. I think it's something to kind of like mirror like maybe other leagues or other lesser sports, not lesser but like less televised or less shown sports to market their to mirror themselves after that sort of thing.
Got you, got you, got you. Just moving on, just to the next question. Just how often do you see coverage of the Paralympics compared to the actual Olympics? And do you think it's focused more on the inspiration part and aspect rather than the athletic performance?
I don't know. I feel like it's both because I feel like it's showing what they're capable of doing, but also like them actually wanting to do it. So I just feel like in terms of like that aspect, it's still competition, but it's like inspiring competition. Like it make you want to go out there and be awesome. Like, damn, like if they could do it, I could do it. Like they give hope to others. You know what I'm saying? So I just think like in Paralympics compared to the Olympics, like the Olympics, they fighting for something. You know what I'm saying? They trying to win for they whatever it is, the USA, they trying to win for their country. Whereas like Paralympics, like they trying to win for themselves, like trying to get confidence. Like I know if these people could do it, I could do it. Like if I go through that finish line, like they could say that they tried and did it, and they know that they ended up doing it. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
so I just think all that play a factor in just having inspiration in yourself and having like courage and heart that you finish. So yo,
Mm.
you know what I mean?
Got you. I also could agree with what you said. I just feel like, of course, you're gonna see coverage with the Olympics because it's a worldwide sport. You got countries going against countries, and just it's night and day compared to the like the viewership behind it. But I feel like with the second part of the question, it is kind of focused more on inspiration, but not intentionally. I would say I feel like just when we was just in class and we seen like a Paralympic, it was a dude wheeling across the line, and for example, like it's every. I feel like everybody's intrusive thought initially, like to feel bad for the person because you know what they've been through or just the adversity that they've been dealing with. But I mean, and normally the people they don't want you to feel bad for them because I mean they're born with it. And it's something they can only control the controllables. But I mean, with them, they just have just as much determination and heart and athleticism to still be able to compete at a high level like that. So I just feel like it is kind of focused more on the inspiration aspect, just because that's just what people automatically assume as it just you want to feel bad for the person, but I don't think that it's portrayed particularly for that. I just think us as people and just with us just having feelings and concerns for other people that the inspiration part automatically overtakes everything because you're inspired when you see someone who's been through something achieving something at such a high level.
And I
Yeah,
hold
no,
on.
I mean,
I feel like my bad, John. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no,
Go
no,
ahead.
go ahead, you got it.
I feel like what K Webb was saying though too, like what Hakeem said in class, like they don't want us to feel bad that they doing that. You know what I'm saying? They want us to see them like everybody else competing like that. So I think that's
Mhm.
another reason why they go and do what they do because they not trying to be, you know what I'm saying? Oh, we should let him win because of his situation. It's like, nah, like if y'all gonna beat me, beat me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to be
Mhm.
competing with y'all, not just because I'm, you know what I'm saying, I got disability or some whoop de whoops. It's just like I'm trying to be with y'all and show the world that I'm capable of doing what I'm doing, just in a different way. So yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I definitely think like the athletes themselves are definitely like that's 100% like what's going on. Like they're competing to compete. It's not, uh let me win kind of thing. I think they're 100% going out there to compete and everything. But I do think I kind of disagree slightly with like whole media frame side of it. Like I know the Paralympics has a lot of like social media and the way they kind of go about like posting and stuff is like they post a lot of things that are more comedic or in a sense of like they're kind of poking fun at themselves sort of thing, which I don't I mean I get it and I don't get it. But it doesn't when I see that I don't treat it in my head the same level of importance as the Olympics. It's like the Olympics when it comes around, I'm like, these are the best of the best going against each other for their country to go for the gold medal, right? And
Mhm.
then I see and I get all this social media coming through and all this media, all these news things coming through, and it's all feeding me that narrative. But when I get stuff for the Paralympics, I don't get that blasted to me. I get something completely different of this is kind of a joke sort of thing, and it's completely not a joke. It's the same exact thing. They're just as athletic, going for the same title, same everything, but it's just fed a little bit differently. I think the Paralympics is a little bit like you guys said, focused more on inspiration, but the Olympics themselves are focused more on athletic performance. But, yeah.
Got you.
Moving on to the next question. Social media has become a platform where marginalized athletes can tell their own stories. Have you seen any athletes who went viral and gained a following without needing traditional media? And like, why do you think those stories resonated so much with like people online?
I feel like prime example, the guy from UF, the basketball player. And I think just what he's done in the March Madness, and he wasn't a guy that's been popping it all season, all year. But he went viral just because based off what he's been doing for his team. And I just think, some guys might say something, and then that's like they motto, and then every time they step out, like he's known for that. But I think I forgot his name. It's like Walter Clayton or something like that. And I just seen like a thing on Twitter where it's like he's gained like 20,000 followers just because of what he's been doing. Like they call him Baby Steph Curry because of how he's performing in the March Madness. So I really think it's more like performance based or like what you're doing at a high level, like a high stage. Like for an example, Natty, you going to snap for 3 tugs, 120 yards, and 10 receptions. Like the world's gonna know about you. The world's gonna, you know what I'm saying? Win or lose, I feel like you do have a performance like that on a big stage, like you will get population and just clout for just off what you do on a high stage because everybody's gonna be watching. And I think like March Madness, everyone's watching. It's like what 14 now, and everybody's gonna be tuned in. And no matter like however you play, it's just gonna be if it's gonna grind you up or shine you up. So yeah,
Sweeney Crow. I
yeah.
peep. Uh, I can agree with that. Like you were saying, just like just off of performance, like it could be an impact just from a player who just competing and performing at and doing what they do at a high level. Like you just mentioned the basketball player you said who gained 20,000 followers. I mean, I can go back to just something that was almost generational. Back in it was I think it was around like 2013. Just Odell Beckham's catch, like just him making a crazy play like that, spiked everything. Uh, from everybody wanting the one hand of ball, go up and catch it one hand. I mean, even people just was just crazy to see him. I know people that he even just because he had a mohawk, people even started getting the mohawk with the blonde. I I know I got a friend teammate. He still got a mohawk, and I just feel like it just rubs off, and people would just want to piggyback off of that and just see. But I mean, I just feel like just that spike and just the impact you bring to the game is just it's limitless. But it just all comes from just how you do things and not just the way you do it, but how you do it. And I feel like that could play a major role in it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it has a lot to do with, of course, like marginalized athletes. They go through a lot. Like there's a lot of struggle and that sort of thing. I think something that's very inspirational to like an audience. I think people like seeing these stories, of people struggling, fighting through adversity, coming through all that and performing at the highest level and beating all the odds and coming through and they have this huge buildup of story. I mean, it's super inspiring. I think a lot of athletes from the, that are from a minority or whatever have these great stories, and I think that people can see this through not necessarily traditional media because like traditional media you see them on the field and that's all you see of them, but you get some behind the scenes with like social media and everything. Those stories can come through. I think people really grab onto that, like grab onto that struggle and makes you feel more like a human, gives you that kind of inspiration sort of thing.
For sure, for sure, for sure. Moving on to the next question. Do you think social media creates a more level playing field, or are there still gatekeepers even in these spaces? Shoot, I think personally, to a certain extent, because I feel like this like team media and like all like I feel like they could promote more than what they should be doing. Because it's not only for like the players, but it's for the fans. And, and just being able to, you know, promote like what I'm trying to say. Mm,
Good, take your time.
promote the whole like unity. You know what I'm saying? Not just the team, but like individuals. Like for an example, we should do more like not just us, but like just I feel like everybody like mic'd up people, like mic'd up coaches, mic'd up players, because I feel like that's some fans want to see like, okay, what is it like when they're in a practice, like day-to-day practice? Like how is he in practice? Because the guy I know in class may not be the same guy I know on the field. So it's just little stuff like that that all play a factor for
Yeah, absolutely. I think social media definitely does like it gives a whole another aspect of for like athletes to be able to like reach a whole new audience. I think it opens that door up to connect with whole wide range of people. So I think it definitely does level the playing field quite a bit. I still think there is, gatekeepers in this space. Like we were talking earlier about how um marginalized sports, lack of funding, low media visibility, cultural bias, all these different things. Like there's some sports that just aren't as big, and I think those things that we talked about earlier can be gatekeepers to getting that audience sort of thing. But I do think that social media allows for athletes in that space to have their voice and kind of be heard and kind of get themselves out there in that sort of way.
Yeah, I love what you just said because I could also agree with that. Social media is just a platform that can reach different audiences and allow people to branch out and just obtain and reach things that can sometimes be unimaginable. Like just relating back to women's basketball. I mean, just because of social media, uh, two very good players, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, just when they was going back and forth. Uh, Fighting for the championship. I mean, Caitlin Clark, it actually I never really was the type of person to tune in or turn on a women's basketball game, but I actually was watching it that night, watching just the two teams go back and forth and her shooting some incredible shots. And then also I feel like Angel Reese also built her own platform and her own how should I say status to a certain extent because just everybody kind of I didn't know who she was till just a retaliation, just the competitiveness she showed towards Caitlin Clark and the other team. And I feel like just because of social media allowed that to happen now, these two have moved on from college into the pros. And even though the media isn't really hasn't always been very high and the revenue for women's basketball, but just these two moving on have created that for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I absolutely agree with you. I think we're gonna move on. So up next, we're gonna hear from Rob Billings, a sophomore safety for the Tigers, and just his experience with everything that we've talked about, and just his take on it.
Not just the team, but like individuals. Like for an example, you should do like we should do more like not just us, but like just I feel like everybody like mic'd up people, like mic'd up coaches, mic'd up players, because I feel like that's some fans want to see like, okay, what is it like when they're in a practice, like day-to-day practice? Like how is he in practice? Because the guy I know in class may not be the same guy I know on the field. So it's just little stuff like that that all play a factor for
Yeah, absolutely. I think social media definitely does like it gives a whole another aspect of for like athletes to be able to like reach a whole new audience. I think it opens that door up to connect with whole wider range of people. So I think it definitely does level the playing field quite a bit. I still think there is, gatekeepers in this space. Like we were talking earlier about how um marginalized sports, lack of funding, low media visibility, cultural bias, all these different things. Like there's some sports that just aren't as big, and I think those things that we talked about earlier can be gatekeepers to getting that audience sort of thing. But I do think that social media allows for athletes in that space to have their voice and kind of be heard and kind of get themselves out there in that sort of way.
Yeah, I love what you just said because I could also agree with that. Social media is just a platform that can reach different audiences and allow people to branch out and just obtain and reach things that can sometimes be unimaginable. Like just relating back to women's basketball. I mean, just because of social media, uh, two very good players, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, just when they was going back and forth, uh, fighting for the championship. I mean, Caitlin Clark, it actually I never really was the type of person to tune in or turn on a women's basketball game, but I actually was watching it that night, watching just the two teams go back and forth and her shooting some incredible shots. And then also I feel like Angel Reese also built her own platform and her own how should I say status to a certain extent because just everybody kind of I didn't know who she was till just a retaliation, just the competitiveness she showed towards Caitlin Clark and the other team. And I feel like just because of social media allowed that to happen now, these two have moved on from college into the pros. And even though the media isn't really hasn't always been very high and the revenue for women's basketball, but just these two moving on have created that for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I absolutely agree with you. I think we're gonna move on. So up next, we're gonna hear from Rob Billings, a sophomore safety for the Tigers, and just his experience with everything that we've talked about, and just his take on it. All right, we're here with Rob Billings, a sophomore safety for the Tigers. Rob, thank you for taking the time to join us today. Can you just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and about your journey of being from Georgia and becoming a safety for the Clemson Tigers?
Yeah, I started playing football when I was 4. I was born in Michigan, um, raised in Michigan. Then I moved to Georgia about when I was 13. Started playing football there. Um, really, I've always had like potential to play any like basketball or stuff like that, any other sports. But I started focusing on football my sophomore year, and I think it really was one of the best decisions I had made. Uh, give me a scholarship to Clemson, and just really just changing my life. So that's really good for me.
Got you, got you. What's your major?
My major is communications, so I feel like that's easy. Trying to balance football and school, I feel like that's a easier major. Not too much
So
work
you
on my
you
end.
you talked about your basketball journey. Like, can we hear some of that real quick?
Yeah,
Like,
I got
what
you. I got you.
was the main factor of like you picking like basketball, football?
Really, it comes like with coaching. In high school, I didn't really like the high school coaches, so that's why I stopped playing basketball. So I feel like a coach can really determine like, oh, what how a player's career goes. Like it's in their hands if they want to play them or not, or like how they feel about the coach. So I didn't like the coaches, and I like football more, so I chose football.
Got you, got you.
Were you a point guard?
I played small forward, point guard, shooting guard, all of it.
Oh, snap.
I was versatile.
Small. So you played small forward at 6'2". All right, next question. But
It's all right.
I
Let's
wasn't
go.
6'2" at the time. Okay.
but moving on. How do you think media coverage of athletes marginalizes communities' influence public perception of the issue they face?
Wait, can you repeat that question again?
Hey, somebody read that. I go like that was a you long.
Let's just like kind of reword it like to
Yeah.
simpler terms.
So basically, how do you think like media coverages of athletes, other communities influence public perception of the issues that they face?
So like, could you name me some issues that you think they face? Like,
For example, like marginalized community, like we were talking earlier in the episode, like about low funding, like not as many people want to watch, say for like
yeah,
women's sports, or like we're talking about the Paralympics, like not as many people will go watch that. There's not as much funding, stuff like that. So how do you think the media can influence like the public's perceptions on those issues that those athletes face?
I think like media could play a big role in like bringing light to a sport or different things like that. Like we never see coverage on like lacrosse games or stuff like that, or like college soccer. We always see basketball, football, the top like sports. So I think if we shine a light on other sports, and yeah, other sports like gymnastics or things like that, you see like other athletes do amazing things. Like the girl from Clemson, she actually like did a she did some move like that hasn't been done since was it Gabrielle? What's her name?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Gabrielle. Yeah,
Gabrielle Union
Gabrielle.
Douglas.
Douglas.
Yeah,
I'm
Gabrielle
tripping. That's
Douglas.
the actress.
Yeah, she hasn't did some moves since Gabby Douglas. Like if we like shine light on that more often, or like other sports, I think it would bring out the best of the other sports. Like people would watch that stuff more, or like they'll tune into things to try to see stuff like that more, other than like the top sports like basketball or football.
Got you, got you. That's good. That's good. Do you just adding on to that? Do you feel like just not only just like bringing light to the sport, but do you feel like the media has the power to uh deter someone's view of a sport? Like, do you feel like the media has the power to make this sport seem better than this one, or make this sport seem like I don't know, lame or something else like that?
Yeah, I think the media got power in that way too. Just like they can deter a player, like make a player look bad or make them look good, showing the players highlights or stuff like that. Or like you see they show like bad things like Paul George in the media. You see like Paul George doing bad stuff, like making shooting bad shots and stuff like that. They could deter a player's perception, same way they could deter like a sport view. It's like if you see a lot of clips of football, exciting plays, stuff like that. But other sports like baseball, you don't see a lot, or any other sports like we don't really see in the media. They don't really show like the exciting plays or the highlights they have. So I think like the media can deter how a sport is viewed in that way too.
Okay, okay.
I got a question. Do you think like hold on, let me get a question. Do you think like so say for an example, like other sports, do you think their side of the media side will promote more if they collab with like the actual school, or you just think they should just do what they want to do in terms of like only collab with the person and the player. Whereas like you think if they collab with the school and they media team, like it'll make the player blow.
Yeah, like our school, we have a lot of sports. If Clemson University collabed with like the lesser known sports on our campus, such like rowing or stuff like that, it'll bring more attraction to the rowing team because Clemson University page is collabing with them instead of like, oh, this is only Clemson rowing. Maybe they don't have a lot of following, but like Clemson University does. So that'll bring more attention to their sport. Or if any other sports did that, like collab with the university to make it'll set a bigger stage for them.
Got you, got you. That's good.
So,
Moving on to the next question. Rob, can you think of an example where the news or the sports media help bring attention, for example, to your sport, football, and what impact did that attention have on the sport?
Um, I feel like even like just now, recently, our spring game coming up. You see Clemson University posting on Instagram, Clemson football. Like I said, the Clemson University page is posting, oh, come out April 5th, see the football team spring game. They're promoting our sport, like how they could promote other sports, but they're promoting our sport and like almost 40,000 people are gonna be there. People are gonna come out and watch us essentially just practice. It's not even like a real game. So like that's a scenario where our sport is getting promoted and people are coming out to see us play.
Got you, got you.
Yeah, absolutely. And moving on to the next question, do you believe that like collegiate athletes have a role in advocating for greater visibility of marginalized sports?
Yeah, I think collegiate athletes do have a role in that. Like even say if one of our top guys like what Cade Klubnik, he's a collegiate athlete. He comes out and goes to a girls lacrosse game or softball game. They might see him, oh, the Cade, our quarterback, he goes out and support the other sports. Why can't I come out there as a student and watch the game? Maybe I meet Cade, get a signature or whatever, take a picture. So like he's bringing more fans or like crowds to their games. Even though they might be there to see them, but they're still in attendance. Their views go up, stuff like that, so they can be there in attendance with for the sport.
Yeah. This is kind of a quick question for like everyone. 'Cause y'all are all athletes. Y'all ever, I mean, y'all know what goes into it and everything. I mean, do y'all ever go to like different sports on campus and everything besides like major ones? Maybe like because we're, we have a big basketball program, we got a big baseball program. Do you guys ever go to like any other sports at all?
Yeah, I
I've
went.
been to two sport.
You got it.
Yeah, me and Rob went to a volleyball game last week,
Yeah,
and then we also went to a basketball game when they played Duke, but that was a little minute ago. But yeah, I'm trying to fit like we trying to do like more stuff together, like go out and just do more sport events because there's a sport around every time of the year. So we just trying to figure out like what sport and what to do and like how to do it for like what teams like just a regular sport. Like we were thinking about going to a softball game, but we just trying to figure out like what we trying to do though. Yeah.
Yeah, I also agree with that. I feel like just being a collegiate athlete, you do have a role in advocating for other marginalized sports. Just for example, me, I used to I used to be an athlete who did track and field, and I have a connection with this athlete named Xavion. He's from my hometown. My dad coached him. We actually went to the same high school, so I go out and support him at the track meets. But crossing over to a different sport, it's not really as hyped up for, and this was during their indoor season. So, you don't really see other sports being there just supporting and coming out. But I find myself going more, and then just the image it brung, and then I actually got just a couple of my roommates, including Rob, to go and just support and just see like some of the races. I feel like you do have a big role with that because I mean, just like on Saturdays, the stadium will be packed out with fans and people, other people in other sports. I feel like you have a role and you have just as much availability to go out and support them just as they do for you. I mean, we all still represent the Paul. We all had the same alma mater, so I feel like being a collegiate athlete, going over and switching it up, because it's you have a major role within that.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
oh, you go ahead.
Yeah. I'm just gonna move on to the next question. This is gonna be our pretty much our last one. How do you think institutions like Clemson University can contribute to creating a more inclusive environment for all sports, not just the major top ones, top earners or anything like that?
I think like I said, promoting it more. Also, like spreading the wealth, I guess. I know football like makes most of the money and like they're gonna get new facilities and stuff like that and like new things. Like we could also like build into other sports. Like I know they're making a new facility for volleyball across from the football stadium. So
Yeah,
like
Jerby
yeah, Derby. So like
Meadows.
yeah. So they're just pouring into those sports and like funding more for other sports. Even it doesn't have to come from football, but like we could raise money like that for other sports and just pour into those sports instead of like how we do the main sports like basketball and football stuff like that.
Absolutely. I mean, definitely agree with you there. That's just gonna wrap it up for the third episode of Between the Stripes. Huge thank you to Rob for joining us tonight and sharing his insights into life as a Clemson Tiger and his take on marginalized sports. Just thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Between the Stripes.
Robert Lee Billings. Bro.